A spot like Shreveport, again, 1 to 2 inches. The higher totals look to come into your north and east. So places like Haynesville, up towards Magnolia, 4 to 5 inches of rainfall possible there. And again, very, very strong winds continuing with the core of the system moving up across northern Louisiana, Arkansas, then making a hard right turn and crossing over the Mississippi River. Plenty more live reports coming up next.
T-minus 10 seconds to crispy, fluffy, Eggo home-style waffles. We are go for liftoff. When they're this crispy and fluffy.
I think this one's a solo mission.
I understand.
Would you Lego your Eggo?
For bathroom odors that linger, try Febreze Small Spaces. Just press firmly, and it continuously eliminates odors in the air and on soft surfaces for 45 days.
New appliances mean cool drinks, homemade treats, and freshening up your favorite fall outfits. Getting the appliances you love with the Home Depot also means saving, like up to 40% on select appliances. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning. Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cats will do anything for the irresistible taste of Temptations treats.
What are you doing?
Hey, check this out. Temptations. All it takes is a shake.
That's a buffalo flatbread bullseye for my mouth to aim at.
Oh, hiding, huh? The new grilled buffalo chicken papadilla. Tangy buffalo sauce, grilled chicken, and melty cheese for just $6. Papa John's.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
My patients, I often see them have teeth sensitivity as well as gum issues. Does it worry me? Absolutely. They are both very much hand in hand, so you should really be focusing on both, and definitely at the same time. Sensodyne sensitivity and gum gives us a dual action effect that really takes care of both our teeth sensitivity as well as our gum issues. By brushing with Sensodyne sensitivity and gum at home, it's giving you the relief that you need and the control that you need to take care of your oral health. And it creates a healthier environment. There's no question it's something that I would recommend.
11 days on the open seas. Still no sign of the world's mightiest predator. So we're attempting to coerce a visit. With devour white cheddar mac and cheese with bacon.
Oh, that looks good.
Astounding.
Eat like an animal. Devour.
I never thought 50 would feel this good.
Introducing Lumiday Radiance Within, the incredible youth booster that counteracts the effects of aging.
My skin is glowing, my hair is thicker and shinier.
Girlfriends were telling me that my skin looked really good, and I just thought, wow.
Claim your complimentary 2-week sample today. Just text BEAUTY to 321321. The key ingredients in Radiance Within target the top 10 effects of aging from the inside out, backed by 10 clinical studies.
Libido is getting stronger. Yes!
And my mood was so calm and even.
It's fabulous. I'm popping now.
Sound too good to be true? That's why we're offering a complimentary 2-week sample so you can see for yourself. Just text BEAUTY to 321321. Do it now, and we'll also include a free trial of Lumiday Youth Rejuvenator to help you feel even younger and get the best sleep of your life. Text BEAUTY to 321321.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
Guys, the severe weather threat. We are live on the ground.
Right now it's coming down.
The Weather Channel. season doesn't stop for a pandemic, and neither do we.
Be ready for impacts well beyond the center of the hurricane.
Don't let COVID-19 take your eye off the tropics. This year's threat is more complex and dangerous than ever before.
Remain vigilant, pay close attention to the Weather Channel.
No one can cover this historic hurricane season better than the Weather Channel. Get the information you need to stay safe every day. Storm safety in a pandemic, all season long, right here on the Weather Channel.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Laura as it barrels inland through Louisiana. I'm in Shreveport, 200 miles from the coast. And yes, I am getting tropical storm conditions here. So we just had a pretty strong wind gust come down right along the street right here. This is McNeil Street. The winds have now turned from the north in Shreveport. And so that's telling me that the center of the circulation of Laura is going to go to our east. I saw down in Mansfield where they were gusting to nearly 60 in the upper 50s. Their winds are from the northwest. So that's telling us, it's not going to go straight over us. It's going to go off to our east and put us on that western side of the circulation. But we'll get into the core of it here, or at least east of town, getting into some of those stronger winds. I'm trying to get a measurement out here. I feel like I'm a bit protected by the building. And I haven't been able to measure anything too strong just yet. But you can see the waves of rain coming down. In fact, we actually know cars are coming. You can really see that these winds are picking up in gusts, blowing down the street. Again, it's a north wind, so it's getting funneled right down this direction. Any trash, of course, is getting picked up and starting to blow around as well. I just saw one of the construction signs go. Got a piece of plastic rolling through right here. And waves of rain coming in with these gusty winds. I mean, take a look. Let me stand back here. Take a look at the rain coming down, and you can use that building as a backdrop, and you can just see sheets of rain at times coming down with some pretty big rainfall rates. I've noticed they've started to pick up around the Shreveport area, and especially south and west of town, where those rainfall rates here in little pockets have come in over an inch or so an hour. And that's the kind of rain that you start to worry about flash flooding. I mean, we can handle about 4 to 5 inches of rain in a 3-hour time frame, but when it comes down fast at once, that really does become a problem. And then I want to talk about the big rain that's happening on the eastern side and the severe risk on the eastern side of the circulation. Let's go back to Greg Postel in studio. Greg, I saw some lightning starting to pop just north of Alexandria. That band, that tail extends all the way back down to the Gulf and Baton Rouge. Like they're going to just get clocked with some heavy rain.
Heavy rain and severe weather, Jen. I think we're going to see that tornado risk even grow more so during the morning and afternoon hours today across parts of Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and nearby areas of Mississippi, where a new tornado watch now is out until 4 o'clock local time. So we have a long day ahead of us yet to deal with severe weather, which will include the possibility of tornadoes across the region. And right now, this is the radar picture of Hurricane Laura, still bringing in very heavy rain and destructive winds inside of this, what's left of the northern eye wall, where wind gusts likely over 90 miles per hour are still hiding with a lot of heavy rain. That is very damaging wind that it continues to move northward across Louisiana. Earlier, about an hour ago, in this region, let's say in western Mississippi and eastern Louisiana, we had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, but thankfully those have expired, and we're not seeing any severe weather in progress right now. But I do think that'll change based on what these tropical cyclones do and how they provide an environment that's very favorable for tornadoes. One of the reasons why is because the surface winds are basically coming out of the east-southeast like that. And just above the ground, the winds are much stronger out of a very different direction. There is a lot of wind shear with these tropical cyclones when they come in because they bring winds of different directions and different speeds at different altitudes. That's wind shear, and that strong wind shear is going to allow some of the thunderstorms that develop in this relatively unstable environment, especially later on today. It's going to give them an opportunity to rotate and produce the kind of severe weather that you can get like with tornadoes. And that is definitely one of the risks today. We've got torcons of 3, which is a threat index that goes from essentially 0 to 10. So it's a medium risk there for tornadoes, and we will watch the possibility, as Jen was talking about, the arc of showers and thunderstorms extending sort of southeastward from Laura will go all the way to the Gulf Coast, and it is something to watch throughout the afternoon and evening hours overall. But we're not done with it today, because as you go even today, we have an area of severe weather in the northeast, unrelated to Laura, and this is also some severe weather that we're going to have to deal with across parts of the northeast. But Mike Seidel, I'm going to send it back to you in Alexandria, Louisiana, where you're dealing with some pretty strong winds there. Take care.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Post. Yes, another gust here recently of 77 miles an hour. So we've had numerous hurricane force wind gusts peaking at 86. 93% of Rapides Parish, that's the parish we're in, without power. 460,000 customers and climbing in the state of Louisiana, and it's all moving north. Now, gradually, it will weaken. We're not going to see 80 or 90 mile an hour wind gusts in Little Rock this afternoon and this evening, but we're going to see a lot of rain. 5 inches of rain here so far. We'll come back and look back at what they went through in Lake Charles overnight and what's ahead with these winds and this rain and the tornado threat. Stay with us.
Facing leaks takes strength. So here's to the strong who trust in our performance and comfortable, long-lasting protection. Because your strength is supported by ours. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I started Once Daily Anoro.
COPD tries to say go this way. I say I'll go my own way with Anoro.
Once Daily Anoro contains 2 medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Do not use Anoro if you have asthma. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro. The most common side effects are sore throat, diarrhea, and pain in the arms and legs.
Ask your doctor about Once Daily Anoro to start treating your COPD.
We're here for you during this challenging time, and always find support at Anoro.com.
This is my body of proof. Proof I can fight moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis.
Proof I can fight psoriatic arthritis.
With Humira.
Proof of less joint pain.
And clearer skin in PSA.
Humira targets and blocks the source of inflammation that contributes to joint pain and irreversible damage.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Humira is proven to help stop further joint damage.
Want more proof? Ask your rheumatologist about Humira citrate-free.
If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
Are your cupboards a cookware disaster? We'll try Gotham Steel Stackmaster, the all-new non-stick space-saving cookware that neatly stacks inside itself. You can have an organized kitchen with every pan and lid right at your fingertips. The solid metal stacking plates allow the entire set to fit together without scratching. Stackmaster pans are non-stick and durable. Plus, they're even oven-safe up to 500 degrees. So bake warm, cheesy bread or make your favorite oven pot roast.
Available at Walmart and Home Depot.
Ta-da! Did you know Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I should get a quote.
Do it.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Can't wait to tell everyone about AT&T's big 5G news.
AT&T has nationwide 5G?
Yep.
And that's faster?
Faster, yeah.
But is it reliable?
Uh-huh, and secure.
You should consider making a big deal about it.
Bigger?
I said bigger.
Oh, bigger deal, bigger than what I'm doing.
It's not complicated. A 5G network needs a 5G device. Now everyone, including existing customers, can get a free Samsung Galaxy Note 20 after trade-in.
Cheez-It snapped. How's it taste? It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it.
I'm eating it.
They love them.
Snapped. So good we may run out of cheese.
Checking in on some live pictures here from the Lake Charles area. And look at this. There's a La Quinta Inn Look at the damage sustained here. The roof, part of that gone, a lot of lumber and wood on the ground, and this is what a major hurricane can do. Just the powerful winds from Laura and the cleanup here in Lake Charles will certainly be something that takes quite a bit of time. The fortunate thing is it is moving along and moving away, so in terms of the weather conditions, they should certainly start to improve here in and around Lake Charles as we head on through our day. That's the positive look at things, but the damage, it is done. And we're not done with Laura as it continues to move its way northbound across parts of Louisiana, eventually getting into Arkansas. And Dr. Postel, still very strong winds associated with this, along with heavy rain.
Yeah, strong winds and heavy rain to continue across Louisiana, Arkansas, and nearby areas of Mississippi right now. Laura, as of the latest advisory, is a 100-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane. We're not going to see 100-mile-per-hour sustained winds inland, but we may indeed see some wind gusts near that value, in the worst of it, right near the center. So this is still a very destructive storm as it moves northward through Louisiana and will carry those damaging winds even well beyond there into Arkansas and farther than that. So let's have a look at some of the recent wind gust reports we've gotten. It's now possible that this instrument might have failed before or just after reporting that wind gust. I got to confirm that, but we may have seen some wind gusts even higher than that in and around the Lake Charles area, and that does appear to be the case. When you look at some of the damage coming out of Lake Charles, it is pretty remarkable. Very heavy structural damage. Some of those images are quite stunning. Right now, we've got Laura moving northward fairly quickly. Very strong winds, even in Alexandria. I think even outside of the remnant eye wall. We just recently had a wind gust there of 86 miles per hour. Right now, 48, gusts to 79, gusting to 66 in Natchitoches. So this is the kind of wind that can bring down trees and knock out power, and that is still going to be moving northward across central Louisiana, Natchitoches, Winfield, some of those locations, very possibly seeing wind gusts over 90 miles per hour, even still. You know, a long way inland and many hours after landfall. Areas to the east, we're seeing more of a steady rain, less wind, but some severe weather is indeed possible, if not likely, across Mississippi, Arkansas, and even northeastern Louisiana later on today. Lots of customers without power. This number continues to go up. It will go up with hundreds of thousands of residents and customers without power. That's going to be the case today and for the next several days at least. Right now, Laura continues to move northward and weaken, thankfully, but it will bring some very bad weather and, unfortunately, some destructive wind and rain to parts of even the mid-Atlantic all the way through Saturday. We are far from over with this story. It continues, of course, the recovery in Louisiana and areas nearby, but the future path tells us, Jen, that we are going to be dealing with very significant flooding potential all the way into the weekend. Actually, yeah, Jen, Shreveport.
Yeah. I mean, Greg, it's all about the rainfall rates, Greg, as you know. That is what you have to watch out for. I mean, look, an inch of rain over a couple hours may not be a big deal, but an inch of rain in 15 or 20 minutes is a big deal. And that's always what we worry about with tropical systems. Now, we're actually in a little bit of a break of the rain right now here in Shreveport. It looks like that band is lifting just off to our north and off to our west. Well, I'm watching the trees, though, and you know, certainly here, the trees have been moving a bit more in the wind. The winds have been gustier than earlier, and that's a trend that we expect to continue, where the winds will continue to ramp up as that center of circulation gets closer to us. It's going to move just to our east in Shreveport, but it's the pressure gradient which drives the wind, along with being in these bands and being in these as basically thunderstorms in some cases like you have on the east side. I don't think we'll get into the thunder here. But the pressure gradient, a very low pressure that's tracking just off to our east. If you have a home barometer, it's going to be interesting to watch it today drop as this thing moves on by and then increase as it moves up to our north and to our east. In fact, speaking of track, let me talk a little bit about the track here today. It's going to move from Louisiana into Arkansas, bringing tropical storm force conditions along the entire way. Even Little Rock, you've got a tropical storm warning possible there. And then it makes a hard right turn. And then we see the strong gusty winds get into Kentucky and Tennessee. I mean, and even Middle Tennessee, Nashville, I think you could have some strong winds as well getting into the day tomorrow. And then into Saturday, we're talking about the Mid-Atlantic, you know, D.C., look at the cone. It may not be a tropical system at this point, but it still will be a wind maker. And so we'll be worried about that as we get into the weekend. All right, let's go back out to Mike Seidel. And Mike, how have things changed, or have they, since now we've seen the circulation move well north of you?
The one thing that's changed is the rainfall has really backed off. We've now added up just over 5 inches of rain here. Most of that falling in about 3.5 hours. The ferocity of the rain and the winds gusting over 80 miles an hour. We've got more coverage. This is all continuing to head north towards Jen and towards Little Rock. Stay with us for more coverage.
Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything. Like pizza, your coworker's lunch, whatever this is. Astronaut food.
And astronauts?
Everything.
Yum.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. I put that on everything.
Little choices make a big difference. Like delicious fruits and veggies. However you're healthy. Naked.
Jake from State Farm, I can't thank you enough for getting me the Serena savings on my insurance. Can I get you 10 free minutes in the broth bath?
Serena, with State Farm, everyone's offered surprisingly great rates.
Yeah, sure. How about a complimentary wet moss wrap?
Here's the deal. These savings are for everyone.
Seriously? She's just jealous.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Find your keys. Find your get up and go. Find pants that aren't sweats. Find your friends. Find your sense of wonder. Find the world is new again. At Chevy, we'd like to take you there. Now, during the Chevy Open Road Sales Event, get up to 15% of MSRP cash back on select 2020 models. That's over $5,700 cash back on this Equinox. It's time to find new roads again.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, I never felt this way before. Give us some more.
Morning, noon, night. Indulgent, delicious, irresistible. Fancy Feast makes delighting your cat delightfully easy. Every recipe, every last detail. Another fancy way to show your love. Fancy Feast. Try savory centers. Pâté with a center of gravy.
A lot of folks are asking me lately how to get their dishes as clean as possible. I tell them, you should try Cascade Platinum plus the power of Oxy. Cascade Platinum plus Oxy breaks down food soils some detergents can leave behind, washing away even the smallest food residue so it doesn't redeposit on your dishes. And Oxy is Cascade's most powerful clean, formulated without chlorine bleach for a hygienic clean you can see and feel. Cascade plus the power of Oxy, the #1 recommended brand in North America.
Through our love promise, Subaru and our retailers are proud to be replanting 500,000 trees in areas devastated by wildfires. Subaru, more than a car company.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. Good morning from Alexandria, Louisiana. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel. Quick recap. Laura made landfall late last night, early hours of this morning in Cameron, Louisiana, as a Category 4 hurricane. It rocked and rolled north through Lake Charles. They gusted to 134 miles an hour, and now it's affecting central Louisiana. We've had gusts here over 86 miles an hour, 5 inches of rain. 93% of this parish repeats parish without power. 460,000 customers and counting without power in Louisiana, and the winds are still howling through this part of the state. Because it came in as such a strong hurricane, it takes a while for it to wind down. We're not talking about a landfall in Cat 1 and you go 100 miles or so inland. We're 125 miles inland, and we're getting wind gusts almost to 90 miles an hour. Now, gradually, the wind field will relax, but it's all going to be heading north. Let me show you what it looked like about an hour ago, and this is when the airport was clocking wind gusts in the low 80s miles per hour. And you can just, I think we'll just listen to the wind, to turn up the audio here, and listen to this wind as it blew through the streets. Pretty loud, and I can imagine what it sounds like in some of these buildings, because as it comes around these buildings here outside, you can hear the roar and the whine of the wind through this area here in Alexandria. So what's next? Here, the rain is winding down. That's not going to be a major issue in the next couple of hours, although a lot of the state's still under flash flood warnings. And in this part of the state, and then over in parts of the state of Mississippi, we have a tornado watch till 4 p.m. That is always a possibility when we have a land-flowing tropical system. Fortunately, unlike with Isaias, we haven't had certainly the number of reported tornadoes by far. But I want you to look up. Mark Weiss is going to pan up to the sky, and this cloud base, this stratospheric, is not very high, but look how fast these clouds are moving. You're talking about wind sustained up there 50, 60 miles an hour. And it's, whoa. That was a gust probably over 60 miles an hour. You can see how fast the clouds are rolling overhead. You almost feel like you can reach out and catch them or touch them. But they're really wrapping around the center. And the center now heading up, what's left of it, up to the west side, rather to the east side of Shreveport. We've got Jen Carfagno there. In the meantime, let's time it out for you. Let's go back to the studio. Alex Wallace, it's not over till it's over. In fact, this one may end up likely impacting folks on the beaches of Maryland and Delaware by the weekend. But first things first, let's talk about today.
Yeah, you said it, no doubt, Mike, a long bit of history to go when it comes to this system moving its way in that general direction. As we look towards your afternoon hours here, as we move through Thursday, we're going to be watching the stronger winds pushing its way up from parts of Arkansas, crossing the Mississippi, and then heading on off towards the east here as we work our way on into our weekend. So if the story not done, we certainly won't be talking about 100-mile-an-hour winds in the mid-Atlantic, but still some gusty conditions and also some downpours. As far as the rain is concerned, we'll see that adding up the most as we slide our way back down into Arkansas. That's where we're thinking the higher totals will be here for the rest of the day. Pretty large area, 5 to 8 inches, and including around the Little Rock area. And remember, Little Rock is a spot that's certainly seen its fair share of rain this year. In fact, we're more than 10 inches above average in terms of the surplus here for us. So additional rainfall not going to help matters. Watch for some potential flash flood issues there, and then we'll watch more rain spread its way on off towards these lighter amounts because it will pick up more speed as it begins to move eastbound. All right, Memphis, you've got impacts on the way. We'll be looking for those wind gusts, 25-mile-per-hour winds through our Thursday evening into Friday night. And potentially here tomorrow, some of those wind gusts could even get up into that close to tropical storm force range. Rainfall amounts for us looks like about 3 to 5 inches there for us in and around the city. So western parts of Tennessee getting hit with that. Looks like west of town, the best opportunity for 3 to 5. And then as you work your way east, we see about 2 or so inches there for you as you work your way into the middle part of the state. Let's take you on into Kentucky, Paducah, another area that could be looking at about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall now as the system moves on through. Again, moving a little quicker as it moves in that general direction, but nonetheless, still bringing us some rain that could lead to, in fact, the likelihood tomorrow for that potential for some flash flooding there. And even a bit farther to the south, we still have that opportunity here as we work our way through the day for some flash flooding. At least, again, that chance is there for us. All right, let's follow all this as we work through the next few days. There's what we've got for tomorrow. There's sort of the center of what's left of Laura, continuing to progress on off towards the east. By the time we get into Friday night, looks like that'll be across central portions of Kentucky. Still, though, spreading that rain from the Ohio Valley all the way down to parts of the Tennessee Valley as well. We've got rain expected there for you. And then by Saturday, racing eastbound here for you into the mid-Atlantic. So chances for the rain and storms, D.C., Baltimore, you may have to deal with that as well. All right, let's get to a spot that's still feeling some of the impacts. Shreveport, Louisiana, with our meteorologist, Jen Carfagno.
Yeah. Yeah, and Alex, unfortunately, I have some breaking news to report. The first fatality of Hurricane Laura has occurred in Louisiana. A 14-year-old girl was killed when a tree fell on her home. And certainly there are many risks with this system as we continue to see it push inland. The inland damage that we could see from strong winds as well as the flooding rain. We'll have more on that. Greg Postel and I are going to talk about Laura when we come back after this short break.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
When was the last time you really looked out the window? What do you see? The awakening of the rising sun, or light dancing across the mountaintops? Look for a moment longer and you'll see beauty is all around us. Like a painting, moving in the wind, speaking to the soul. The world flashing past, still yet to explore. Look out the window. The summer of Jeep is here.
Or get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on select 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee models.
This is my body of proof. Proof I can fight moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis.
Proof I can fight psoriatic arthritis with Humira. Proof of less joint pain.
And clearer skin and PSA.
Humira targets and blocks a source of inflammation that contributes to joint pain and irreversible damage.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Humira is proven to help stop further joint damage.
Want more proof? Ask your rheumatologist about Humira citrate-free.
If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
Okay, Limu, you said it. Then as I spike it, I'll tell them how Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so they only pay for what they need. Got it? Did you get that? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
It takes a relentless attention to detail, a passion to protect people from the elements. But most of all, it takes a commitment to comfort in any conditions. At the Weather Channel, our gear means everything. And whatever the weather, you'll find us there, proudly wearing Land's End. Because Land's End stands for quality in everything they make. So we know they can stand behind us. The official outfitter of the Weather Channel is Land's End. Let's get comfy everywhere.
Hi, Linda. Looks like you've got a prescription to fill. Any idea how much that's going to cost in there? The exact same drug that's $10 at this pharmacy is $150 at this one. GoodRx finds prices and discount coupons on every prescription. Just input the drug name and instantly find savings at virtually every pharmacy in America.
Next. What can I do for you? Here's my prescription, and I have a coupon from GoodRx. Nice price.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions with GoodRx.
Being a patient with diabetes myself, I can say without question that the Dexcom system is the most powerful tool to help navigate diabetes better on a daily basis.
I love it. I just wear a little sensor and that's it. It's totally painless and private.
The Dexcom sends my glucose readings to my receiver every 5 minutes. I just pull it out of my pocket and look, and I don't have to prick my finger. Dexcom puts you in control, not your diabetes.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground.
Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Laura as it barrels inland, bringing with it strong wind and very heavy rainfall. Some breaking news this morning, unfortunately. We do have the first fatality to report from Hurricane Laura. A tree fell on a home in Louisiana, and a 14-year-old girl inside died because of that. We'll have more information on that as, of course, we get it here, and we'll share it with you. And that's a concern that we have, that trees coming down will cause damage, will cause destruction. Trees coming down will cause power outages, and the winds have been picking up here in northern Louisiana. So the system is on a move. It's on its way through central Louisiana. It's heading due north, and we've been watching those winds start to pick up at the Shreveport Airport now, gusting over 50. And well, we are in Tiger Country, I guess. The Shreveport Airport winds gusting over 50. In Barksdale, east of town here, gusting about 55. And then south in Mansfield, where you guys have been getting some of the worst of the weather, gusting about that as well. And that's been pretty consistent for the last 2 hours. You've been up in the 40s and the 50s with the heavy rainfall. Here, I mean, you can see in the trees a little bit how we're gusty. I think we're just so protected in downtown that we're not getting that. Thankfully, that hopefully will cut back on any damage that we might see in town. But yes, actually come down the street, you can see that every once in a while we get these gusts of winds and you see the trees start to pick up. You can see that down, heading right down McNeil Street. These gusts are going to be off and on like this for the next several hours. The system is going to track just off to our east. It's on its way right now. And one thing that I think that you guys are going to notice is the pressure drop. And Greg Postel, why don't we start actually talking about that? You know, this is a pretty strong low pressure coming this far north in Louisiana. I just saw the latest advisory from the Hurricane Center, 970. So this has got to be some intense just pressure gradient winds we're going to see.
Yeah, and the fact that that pressure is such a, it's a pretty small storm. This is not like a nor'easter at 970. This is a compact area of low pressure at 970. And it's the gradient, Jen, as you know, of the pressure that drives the wind. So we're seeing pressure differences, very large pressure differences over short distances. So we've got those strong winds, even in Shreveport, gusting to 52, Jen, right now at the airport where you are, in the north wind on the weaker side of the storm, and not even in what's left of the eye wall. Jen.
I know, and don't tell that to someone who's losing power as we speak, right? Because these 50-mile wind gusts are taking out some tree limbs. I mean, that can happen, even though that is generally the weaker side. The eastern side of the storm, you get the south wind flow, and then you also have the forward motion. So what can we expect for points east of Shreveport, and including on I-20? Do you think that we're going to see this weaken beyond? I mean, it's at 100 miles per hour right now in terms of winds. Next advisory, you think they're going to drop it more?
Probably, yeah. I mean, there's not any reason to suspect that locations will inland, this far inland, will see those sustained 100-mile-per-hour winds. But there may be gusts close to that, certainly in what's left over of this northern eye wall. And that, too, will probably cross, if it's not doing so already, I-20 in Louisiana between Monroe and Shreveport. So residents in this region, take shelter now. You might as well, because this kind of wind gust, potentially over 90 miles per hour, can do a lot of damage. Shelter in place, as though this, Jen, is like a tornado warning moving through, even though there isn't one issued. Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Well, exactly. A lot is closed today, so no good reason to be out. All right, I want to go back out to Tevin Wooten. Greg, thank you for that. I want to go back out to Tevin Wooten, who's in Lake Charles. And Tevin, you've done some great coverage out there. I know this is going to be your last report from Lake Charles for this morning. So take us through kind of the overview of where you are right now. That water's still going up, or has it stabilized?
I think the water is sort of stabilizing, but I'm concerned that stabilization is not really going to help because the reverse flow has not gone back out to the Gulf of Mexico. But I want to show you, though, what can happen when you get into a Category 4 hurricane and you get the northern side of the eye wall, then the southern side of the eye wall. With the northern side of the eye wall, if you keep it in mind, low pressures or hurricanes flow in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. So we had this flow from the east towards the west, and this is what it did to this gazebo right here. Look at how Chris Brew was just reporting here yesterday, by the way. The supports and the trusses for this gazebo down on the ground now. Whole thing shifted that way. Okay, that's one wind direction. But keep in mind, again, the southern side of the eye wall, where winds were close to 80 or 95 miles an hour, that flow goes from the west towards the east. And that's still the flow we have right now, by the way. But look at how some of these trees are going this direction. Some of these trees are going this direction as well. And then a lot of the debris flow is from the west towards the east. So that's what you see when you're on the northern side versus when you're on the southern side. Now, overall, that southerly flow and that westerly flow, westerly components of the flow is still there. So we've got to be mindful of that. We do have reports of some potentially flooding ongoing, perhaps near the downtown and the Civic Center area. And one more thing I do want to show you, the glass at the patio level and the pool level here. Look at how some of this glass is just speckled and splattered all across this lawn right here. This was a venue for weddings, but right now, obviously, not that today, and will not likely be that in the foreseeable future, at least for the next day to perhaps week or so. That's the latest here from Lake Charles. Let's go up to Alexandria. Actually, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we do have continuing coverage of Hurricane Laura. We have our crew spread all across Louisiana and eventually into Arkansas.
I didn't order a pizza.
I know. But that Parker promo saved me so much on my insurance. I brought you a little something special.
Parker, State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
You're the man, man.
You want the real deal? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Look, this isn't my first rodeo. And let me tell you something. I wouldn't be here if I thought reverse mortgages took advantage of any American senior. Or worse, that it was some way to take your home. It's just a loan designed for older homeowners, and it's helped over 1 million Americans. A reverse mortgage loan isn't some kind of trick to take your home. It's a loan, like any other. Big difference is how you pay it back.
Find out how reverse mortgages really work with AAG's free no-obligation reverse mortgage guide. Eliminate monthly mortgage payments, pay bills, medical costs, and more. Call now and get your free info kit. Call 1-800-231-7626.
Other mortgages are paid each month, but with a reverse mortgage, you can pay whatever you can when it works for you. Or you can wait and pay it off in one lump sum when you leave your home.
Discover the option that's best for you. Call today and find out more in AAG's free no-obligation reverse mortgage loan guide. Access tax-free cash and stay in the home you love.
You've probably been investing in your home for years, making monthly mortgage payments, doing the right thing. And it's become your family's heart and soul. Well, that investment can give you tax-free cash just when you need it.
Learn how homeowners are strategically using a reverse mortgage loan to cover expenses, pay for health care, preserve your portfolio, and so much more.
Look, reverse mortgages aren't for everyone, but I think I've been around long enough to know what's what. I'm proud to be a part of AAG. I trust them. I think you can too.
Trust AAG for the best reverse mortgage solutions. Call 1-800-231-7626 so you can
retire better.
Whether holding down the fort or bouncing back to school, childhood is always in session. So keep feeding us right with Sun-Made snacks. Just like when you were a kid. Delicious, made with whole fruit. Sun-Made.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting and sure, with 9 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients to support immune health.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, I never felt this way before. Give us some more.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Laura. It is still a 100-mile-per-hour hurricane, Category 2, inland. It is located 80 miles to the south-southeast of Shreveport, Louisiana. This is where I'm located, meteorologist Jen Carfagno. And we continue our coverage as this wind and rain continues to move all the way through central and northern Louisiana now. That heavier rain getting into Arkansas, and the tropical storm force winds will get up there as well. Here in Shreveport at 4:37 this morning, everyone's phones went off. A hurricane warning. And that was a surprise. As far as I can tell, that was the first hurricane warning that has been issued for Shreveport. If you go back in history, way back when hurricanes were just numbered, there were two that tracked just to the east of here. But as far as I can tell, in recent times anyway, there has not been a hurricane or hurricane warning for this area. Now, we've certainly had our share of tropical systems come our way. Just go back to Cindy and then to Brett back in 2017 and 2015. But this one is going to bring some extra wind here, and that's why everything is pretty much shut down for the day. City facilities closed, buses suspended, that's sports trans, schools are closed as well in the area. Today really is a day to just sit down and sit inside and keep everything charged up, because we are worried about power outages. I've had about 12,000 customers so far. Now, here in downtown, you can really get a sense from the trees that the winds are gusty, but they're not as strong as they are outside of downtown. If you take a look down McNeil Street, you can see the trees blowing a little bit here. But at the airport, we've been gusting to 52 miles per hour. At Barksdale, which is east of us in Bossier City, they're gusting to 47. Mansfield, which is south of us, they're gusting into the 50s as well, and that's been ongoing. So that's unfortunately where I think there's probably some more trees down and power outages there as well. Let's go back in to the studio and talk with Dr. Greg Postel. We're going to be on the western side of the circulation here in Shreveport, but still getting into the heavy rain. On the eastern side, I'm just watching that tail of the system extend all the way down to the Gulf. Do you think flooding rain is going to be a real big problem on the eastern side of the circulation?
Flooding rain, yeah, we could get some flooding, no doubt about that. We've already seen, Jen, some flash flood warnings pop up from time to time, and a few inches of rain are indeed likely. But it's almost like, Jen, to me, what we have to watch out for is the threat of severe weather in this particular quadrant that you mentioned of Laura, because the conditions are right, not just now, but even later on today, even more so, for the possibility of tornadoes. And this is a very common thing with landfalling tropical cyclones, as you well know.
Greg, what do you think about the tropical storm force winds up into Arkansas? I mean, look, it's still 100 miles per hour. It's only 80 miles to our south. We're not that far from Arkansas. It seems like this is going to be pretty strong with its wind field still moving up into Arkansas.
It indeed will be, because the remnant northern eye wall is now passing through northern Louisiana, just south here of I-20. And it is in here that you may still see wind gusts of 90 miles per hour, and that will move northward, and that will do a lot of damage, of course. And while it will weaken as it moves northward, Jen, your point is well taken, because, by the way, residents in El Dorado or Arkansas, we need to be very careful of the movement of this northern part of the eye wall, or what's left of it, because it contains a lot of wind damage potential, and that is going to be moving northward through northern Louisiana into southern Arkansas. You're right about that.
Yeah, all right, Greg, thank you for that. We'll chat more in a little bit here about this. I'm going to go back out to Mike Seidel in Alexandria, Louisiana. Mike, where you had that peak wind of 86. Have you seen a lot of damage or heard reports of damage from that area yet?
No, it's mostly power, and I'm looking around. I've got a pretty good wide view of a lot of businesses, and nothing pops out right now. I'm sure there's some structural damage, some minor damage around the area, but unlike that incredible shot we've seen of the Capital One Tower in downtown Lake Charles, it seems like almost all the windows blown out. Right here, looking at all these restaurants and buildings, things seem to be in pretty good shape. But the power is going to be the big issue, and that's going to be the lasting memory. Most of the rain here has now fallen. We've had about 5 inches, and the flash flood warnings in about the southern half of the state, most of those expire in about a half an hour. The ones north of there, up towards Shreveport, go on for about another 3 hours and change. So the rain winding down, the wind is still the issue. 93% of power customers here in Rapides Parish, that's the home parish here in Alexandria, are without power. And just checked a minute ago, 460 customers statewide. So, you figure 3-4 customers, one customer has 3 or 4 people. So we're easily talking over 1 million people without power this morning. Fortunately, it is not winter time, but summertime. But then what happens, this moves out, it gets hot and steamy again. So we want to get that power back on. But the power crews cannot put up their bucket trucks and do really any line work until these winds subside. And it's going to be later this afternoon and this evening as Laura continues to pull north and weakens to a tropical storm. So we'll have much better weather tomorrow for the power crews in this area. In the meantime, let me take you back to about 5:30 this morning, about 5:30, 5:45 this morning here in Alexandria, and I was shooting video, and all of a sudden, take a look, the power went out. Now, we'd already had a gust to 85 miles an hour, and the power went out up and down the road here. The Gitco nursery sign went out, and we were in the dark, but it only lasted a few minutes, and then the power came back on. But that didn't last forever. In fact, about an hour or so later, the power went off for good, and now it's out, as I mentioned, across just about every place here in this parish. And there's a video from about an hour and a half ago when we were getting consistent hurricane-force wind gusts. You can actually hear the roar of the wind and each particular gust coming literally right down the highway behind me. That's how strong these wind gusts were, along with horizontal rain. In 1 hour this morning, we picked up 1.71 inches of rain, so almost 2 inches in 1 hour, as these winds continue to be rather sporty here in Alexandria this morning. So Dr. Postel, a great example of what happens in the difference inland when you have a major hurricane, in this case a Cat 4 landfalling, versus a Category 1, 150 miles inland, a big difference when you compare the two different categories.
Especially when one is moving fairly quickly like Laura is. It is bringing those destructive winds all the way northward through Louisiana, and those will get into southern Arkansas in a few hours. That is leading to a lot of power outages, Mike, as you mentioned. Let's have a look at the customers now. This number keeps going up quickly. 670,000 plus customers without power. And that's going to be, unfortunately, the case for probably days yet to come. We'll see how it all works out. But there are a lot more places that are going to lose power, especially in northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas, and even northward from there as Laura continues to move along. There it is right now, clearly not as strong as it was, but strong enough to do a lot of damage, with wind gusts still at most probably close to 90 miles per hour in and near the center of circulation. And we've seen some of those reports in Alexandria, for example, where Seidel is. Just about an hour ago, winds gusted to 86 miles per hour, and they weren't even in the worst of it. So it is still a formidable windstorm, and of course, heavy rain and severe weather. And we are going to move Laura in this path over the next few days, with the remnants of it getting to the East Coast and then maybe redeveloping once it gets out in the Atlantic. Wouldn't that be something? Unfortunately, we have a lot more rain yet to come. You can see at least several inches there in Arkansas, and also moving that path across parts of Kentucky, Virginia, areas nearby in West Virginia. Flooding rain may be on the way from Laura over the next couple of days, but I think one of the saving graces here is that it will be moving fairly quickly, much like this forecast indeed suggests, whereby even early this afternoon, the center may be in southern Arkansas, bringing heavy rain and potentially some damaging winds. In some cases, let's say by late evening and overnight tonight, still over 50 and 60 miles per hour, and then moving eastward from there across parts of Tennessee. And we're not done. We're going to have to track Laura all the way to the coast, because it will bring some gusty winds, potentially some power outage threat as well across parts of the Mid-South, and some severe weather potential as well, all the way through the weekend into, I would say, late Saturday by the time Laura finally exits the coast, Jen, and then maybe redevelops in the Western Atlantic.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
All right, Greg, here. So I'm in Shreveport. The winds have been gusty in town, certainly gustier outside of town, though. I want to go down to Jim Cantori, who felt the brunt of the system as it came in coastal Louisiana. Here he is from Lake Charles.
We were out here under this overhang, but we got into that eastern eye wall again. The wind was just too strong. You can see how it's swaying these huge lights up to the top. Look at the wind blow the water out of the fountain. Okay, I mean, look at how strong it is. Coming in basically due south here is what we're seeing. So too much glass, not a great place to be, obviously, with that wind blowing. So we've come in out of harm's way. But this building's been compromised. There are several areas in it where there are either holes in the roof, where there are windows broken, where we've had air conditioning units been ripped off the building. There's water flowing in one side of the building. So it's trying to breathe. I mean, think about that. You have all this wind rolling through these holes, and it's trying to get in and out. So, I mean, listen to the building. I'm going to walk over here again, and I want you guys, whoever's on microphones back at the Weather Channel turn this up a little bit because it sounds like a chainsaw, right? Listen. I mean, incredible.
All right, and here in Shreveport, so outside of town at the airport, winds gusting to 50, and every once in a while we get into a bigger gust here in the downtown. It's coming from the north, and that's really telling because that tells me that the circulation, the center of circulation, is going to go off to our east in Shreveport. All right, there's a little bit of traffic coming through, as you can tell, but not a lot of activity out here today. Honestly, so I went to the other side of the street because there wasn't much. I wanted to talk more about just watching these trees, these beautiful, I think they're live oak trees out here. A little bit of tree debris coming down here like you'd see in a thunderstorm. But with those winds that have been gusting in the 40s and now in the 50s here outside of the downtown area, I'm expecting a lot of power outages, tree limbs coming down, and just be careful if there's any trees overhanging your house. You don't want to be in that room over your car. Obviously, you don't want to go out in your car today if at all possible. Just wait this out. Let's go back into the studio with Alex and track this thing as it moves up into Arkansas, Alex.
Yeah, right. This thing's not stopping. More impacts coming inland, no doubt about it, here with Laura. Let's get you caught up on what we know. First, Louisiana has now reported the first death from a Hurricane Laura on the U.S. mainland. A 14-year-old girl died when a tree fell on her home. The number of power outages quickly rising across parts of Louisiana and Texas, with more than 600,000 homes and businesses now without power at this hour. And in Arkansas, the Little Rock School District plans to shut down schools early, with elementary schools to close at 1 p.m. and secondary schools at 2:30 this afternoon. And Comcast has opened Wi-Fi hotspots not only in the greater Houston area, but also in Louisiana. This to allow non-customers and emergency personnel to stay connected for free. All you have to do is visit the link www.xfinity.com/Wi-Fi to find a hotspot. Well, Hurricane Laura is the strongest to make a landfall in Louisiana in 164 years. Joining us right now on the phone is James Wascom, the director of the Louisiana Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, you bet, Alex. Thanks for having me.
I know it's still pretty early here, but what is your assessment of how the state fared through the night and through this morning with this powerful hurricane?
Well, the storm surge was a little lower than what we expected, what was forecast. So that's a blessing. We still think we're going to widespread. Obviously, we already have widespread power outages, and most of the damage is going to be structural in nature. Obviously, going to be a lot of debris for us to clean up and pick up. But so far, I think we're faring fairly well, depending on what area of the state you look at.
And you mentioned that. Where are you hearing are some of the worst hit areas, and how are you guys getting into those areas to help out?
Well, obviously Lake Charles right now. So we've got 4 search and rescue task forces going into Lake Charles as we speak. So we're going in there to take a look, and then as the wind subsides, we'll come in behind in central Louisiana with 5 other task forces, and then we have a number of other task forces here in Baton Rouge that'll go into Shreveport. So we're right now Lake Charles. We fully expected Lake Charles to have a lot more flooding because of the storm surge. So that's looking pretty good, but lots of structural damage that we're seeing right now.
Now, we know that not everyone who was asked to evacuate did. Any word on if those folks are okay?
We're not getting a lot of calls that I'm aware of for rescue, so that's good news. But once we get in there and able to do a grid search and check it out, we'll know more. You know, the good thing too, Alex, is we still have communications via cell phones over into Lake Charles with my folks there, so that's good news as well. And we're still communicating with them via computer, so that's good news as well. But we know we're going to have some structure damage, and obviously the power outages are significant. That's going to take some time to restore.
And you mentioned those power outages, and across the state of Louisiana, nearing 500,000. Any word on how long it may take? I know you have to wait for the weather conditions to improve.
Yeah, not really. I mean, we've heard estimates anywhere from 7 to 10 days, but you know, anecdotally, I was told we have more more utility crews in state than we've ever had before. So they're good at what they do. So as soon as we can, I'm sure they'll be out there. There was a number of them in occupying hotel rooms in Lake Charles. So as soon as they get out, I'm sure they'll be on top of it. We have a Public Service Commission representative linked in with our EOC, so we get updates for the.
All right. Well, James Wascom, thank you so much for updating us on the situation. Again, continued good luck here as we deal with this hurricane.
At Olive Garden, it's easier than ever to enjoy what you love from us in the comfort of your own home. Order and pay online. Choose from all your favorites. Then bring it all home with Carside Pickup. Only at Olive Garden.
I like Liberty Mutual. They get that no two people are alike. And customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. What do you think?
I don't see it. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is an athlete 20 reps deep sprinting past every leak in our softest, smoothest fabric. She's confident, protected, her strength respected. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
Teddy loves tug-of-war. In his lifetime, he'll pull hundreds of tons. That's why he needs a tailored recipe from Iams to help him stay fit. Iams who I am.
Is that net carbs or total? Not enough fiber. Chocolate would be good.
Snacking should be sweet and simple. The delicious taste of Glucerna gives you the sweetness you crave while helping you manage your blood sugar with nutrients to help support immune health.
St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. I get to keep her, and we get to have her and enjoy her, and she gets to grow up, which is the best gift like anyone could ever give.
My patients, I often see them have teeth sensitivity as well as gum issues. Does it worry me? Absolutely. They are both very much hand in hand, so you should really be focusing on both, and definitely at the same time. Sensodyne sensitivity and gum gives us a dual action effect that really takes care of both our teeth sensitivity as well as our gum issues. By brushing with Sensodyne sensitivity and gum at home, it's giving you the relief that you need and the control that you need to take care of your oral health. And it creates a healthier environment. There's no question it's something that I would recommend.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, I never felt this way before. Give us some more.
At Bear Naked, soft-baked granola clusters are hand-picked by our very own Bear Naked granola bears. Honey, oats, nuts, and fruit. Satisfying enough for a bear, clean enough to be naked. Bear Naked granola. Feed your bear.
If something happened to you, what would happen to them? Their home, their education, their future. You need life insurance, and chances are SelectQuote can help you get it for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found Jacob 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife Wendy, a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates.
We found Gary, 35, a $1 million policy for only $22 a month.
Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
Call 1-800-852-9312 or go to selectquote.com now and get the insurance your family needs.
At a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got severe weather threat here live on the ground.
Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel. season doesn't stop for a pandemic, and neither do we.
Be ready for impacts well beyond the center of the hurricane.
Don't let COVID-19 take your eye off the tropics. This year's threat is more complex and dangerous than ever before.
Remain vigilant, pay close attention to the Weather Channel.
No one can cover this historic hurricane season better than the Weather Channel. Get the information you need to stay safe every day. Storm safety in a pandemic, all season long, right here on the Weather Channel.
And here we are checking in on Lake Charles, Louisiana, one of the areas certainly hard hit by Hurricane Laura. Aerial footage here, drone footage here from our very own Charles Peak showing you some of these structures. You've got part of this building that just crumbled there, at least the corner of that. And again, just a number of areas where we saw sustained damage with those very, very strong winds as the system made its way into Louisiana late last night and during the overnight period. There'll be more unfortunate video clips like this from a number of other areas where that sustained damage as well. But right now we're looking at, again, on Lake Charles, one of the hardest hit spots. Now, we always talked about how this would not just be a coastal situation, that we would be dealing with this thing moving its way inland, continuing to move north. And that's exactly what we are anticipating, more impacts in some of these other spots away from the coast, including Shreveport, where we'll be looking for some gusty conditions throughout the day. In fact, the peak of the winds through our midday today could be up over tropical storm force, and there also could be a good 1 to 2 inches of rainfall to deal with there as well. We follow the system as we move our way through the rest of the day. Now, the yellow zone, that's the area where we do have tropical storm force wind gusts. The red area, hurricane force winds. And you notice how that continues to move north. Now, the hurricane area and the tropical storm force region really does begin to shrink. So we do think that we will see the aerial coverage of where those stronger winds will be shrink a bit. But still, by tomorrow morning, still could be looking at northeastern parts of Arkansas into western Tennessee. Tropical storm force wind gusts will be possible in those areas. So we will watch for that continuation of power outages to spread across portions of Arkansas into western Tennessee. Rainfall amounts, as we mentioned, around Shreveport, about 1 to 2. It looks like the heavier amounts to your north and east, places like Magnolia, right in that 3, 4, close to 5-inch range. And we can follow the core of the strongest winds continuing to move off towards the north here, getting it again, southern parts of Arkansas throughout this late afternoon, spreading up into places like Little Rock through the evening there, even through the midnight hour. Then it takes a bit of a hard right turn, moving its way eastbound, and eventually it'll cross over the Mississippi here for us. But strong wind gusts, Memphis, Tupelo, Mississippi, Nashville. This is now as we get into Saturday morning, could be looking at some strong wind gusts in those areas. As far as the rainfall is concerned, the big swath of rain expected to take place here across central Arkansas. A pretty decent swath of 5 to 8 inches of rain will be possible. Of course, that could lead to some flash flood issues. There's also another risk. Let's bring in Dr. Postel to talk about that severe threat that accompanies the system.
Yeah, as typical with landfalling tropical cyclones, we have that tornado threat, which does include today areas in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas. You can see that we've got a tornado watch out. This is by the Storm Prediction Center. That goes until 4 o'clock local time, 5 o'clock Eastern. So residents in these areas, be on the lookout for severe weather, especially today, later on this afternoon, and be prepared to act if warnings are issued. Right now, we've got no severe weather in progress outside of a hurricane moving northward across Louisiana, but no severe thunderstorms or tornado warnings in progress. There is damaging wind that could do potentially tornado-like damage right in the northern edge here of the circulation. This is what's left of the northern eye wall of Laura. That will continue to move northward, cross I-20 pretty soon. Expect wind gusts of 80 to 90 miles per hour in that, and that will likely continue to move northward through the morning hours into Arkansas by early afternoon. But surrounding that is where we have to watch out for the possibility of tornadoes, where we have the surface winds coming out of the east-southeast. Now, you know, when we talk about severe weather, let's say in the plains, we talk about wind shear a lot. Well, tropical cyclones making landfall provide a lot of wind shear, because with low-level winds doing that and winds aloft doing something very different and much stronger, well, that kind of wind change with altitude is strong wind shear, and we've got plenty of that in the presence of an environment that is unstable enough to support some pretty big thunderstorms. So especially later on today, when we get a bit more instability with the daytime heating, watch out for thunderstorms and that tornado threat. That does include parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas, and it may extend beyond that. We'll have to watch out and see how and where Laura goes during the afternoon hours today. I'm going to send it back over to Seidel in Alexandria, Louisiana.
Hey, Dr. Postel, the wind still rather sporty out here. Not getting the extreme gusts we were for the past couple of hours when we got the what was left of the eastern eye wall, and that is now headed up north and east of Natchitoches and heading towards Monroe. So look out at Monroe for those gusts, as Dr. Postel just mentioned, over hurricane force. We've got a little traffic out on the highway. Let's walk out here, and I've been doing some eyeballing, billboards, things like that. Signs, and just taking a view of this. I don't see any substantial damage, but I'm sure there's some structural damage out there, at least some minor structural damage. And the power, 93% of customers and repeats perish without power.
Hey, I didn't order any pizza.
Jake from State Farm. After you saved me so much dough on insurance with that Parker promo, I devised a promo for you.
Here's the deal, Parker. State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
Yeah, right. Pepperoni pockets, an atomic brownie, cuckoo crusty.
There's no promo. It's just great rates.
And a cider ranch. You're the man, man.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Find your keys. Find your get up and go. Find pants that aren't sweats. Find your friends. Find your sense of wonder. Find the world is new again. At Chevy, we'd like to take you there. Now, during the Chevy Open Road Sales Event, get up to 15% of MSRP cash back on select 2020 models. That's over $5,700 cash back on this Equinox. It's time to find new roads again.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I started Once Daily Anoro. COPD tries to say go this way. I say I'll go my own way with Anoro.
Once Daily Anoro contains 2 medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Do not use Anoro if you have asthma. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro. The most common side effects are sore throat, diarrhea, and pain in the arms and legs.
Ask your doctor about Once Daily Anoro to start treating your COPD.
We're here for you during this challenging time, and always find support at Anoro.com.
Okay, slowly.
Okay.
Break!
Oh. Should we leave a note?
No.
Did I pass? Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Is now a good time for a flare-up?
Enough, Crohn's.
For adults with moderate to severe Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, Stelara can provide relief and is the only approved medication to reduce inflammation on and below the surface of the intestine in UC.
You getting on that flight? Back off, UC.
Stelara may increase your risk of infection, some serious, and cancer. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores, new skin growths, have had cancer, or if you need a vaccine. RPLS, a rare potentially fatal brain condition, may be possible. Some serious allergic reactions and lung inflammation can occur.
Lasting remission can start with Stelara. If you've been financially impacted by COVID-19, Janssen may be able to help.
T-minus 10 seconds to crispy, fluffy, Eggo home-style waffles. We are go for liftoff. When they're this crispy and fluffy.
I think this one's a solo mission.
I understand. Would you Lego your Eggo?
Is mealtime a struggle? Introducing Ore-Ida Potato Pay, where Ore-Ida Golden Crinkles are your crispy currency to pay for bites of this. With this. When kids won't eat dinner, potato pay them too. Ore-Ida, win at mealtime.
Frisky's World. Look at that!
It's made with